ladies, gents, and my non-binary friends, and welcome to another video. Today I will be painting a Reaper miniature flesh golem, and I'll be discussing the lore around flesh golems in Dungeons & Dragons. Okay, so to start off with, I just want to say that I think Frankenstein's monster is the first ever flesh golem, and that it heavily inspired the flesh golem that we know and love to hate today. Frankenstein's monster does differ from the modern Dungeons & Dragons flesh golem in one major way, which is that he is very intelligent. He actually taught himself to speak by observing a family in the woods, and how to read from like papers sitting around. I don't know. And he wanted very badly to be a part of human society, but was rejected because he's an 8-foot-tall monster, and obviously people weren't excited to see him. When they did, or when he tried to speak to them, he was attacked and injured. So, as a result of this, he began to despise humans, and actually, in particular, he despised his own creator for having brought him into the world in such a way. He hunted down his creator, killed his sister, which, side note here, the book was clearly written by an 18-year-old. I mean, Mary Shelley, she did a fantastic job creating an entire genre and a monster which still exists in literature and movies and stuff today, although everyone thinks that Frankenstein is the monster, but whatever. So the book was very clearly written by an 18-year-old, which is impressive, but the girl, that he kills comes literally out of nowhere. I didn't even know she existed until she was dead. Which, I mean, you gotta have at least a little foreshadowing so that we care someone died, right? Like, that character has to exist. Whatever. Moving on. Let's move to the actual point of the video. So flesh golems. Flesh golems are assembled from the body parts of several different creatures. Now, rules is written, it has to be made of 6 different humans. But I think it is really up for interpretation by the DM. You could use humanoids like elves, orcs, whatever. Or you could even throw in some fuzzy animals or just general monsters in there. Why not? I think that's a lot more fun. Let's get back. So they're assembled from several different creatures, all stitched and bolted into a new and gruesome humanoid form. So I used 5 humanoids here, but it's supposed to be 6. It's supposed to be 1 each for the torso, head including the brain, arms, and legs. They are 8 feet tall, which is suspiciously the exact same as Frankenstein's monster, and they weigh 500 pounds. The flesh is usually stolen from graves and is, of course, still decaying, meaning it has a lingering smell of dead flesh and freshly turned soil. The flesh golem is unable to fully control its body, so it moves stiffly, and they are only able to make a hoarse roar, although it does understand all languages that its creator speaks. Its clothing and possessions are whatever its creator wishes to give it. Traditionally, of course, this is just a tattered pair of trousers and no weapon, because flesh golems use a slam attack with both their hands. They do not have any weapon proficiencies. The original creation of flesh golems is attributed to the Netherese arcanist, Caenid, and was originally known as Caenid's Geas, pronounced G-ass, according to the D&D wiki. Now, if you're like me and aren't really aware of the spell or word, Chaos, I'll go ahead and explain it. Chaos is also known as quest. That word is usually used by divine spellcasters, whereas arcane spellcasters usually called the spell Chaos. The spell can be used to coerce a creature to perform a task or restrain a creature from some course of action. Casting time is usually 10 minutes and can't be willfully resisted. The subject has to be alive, conscious, intelligent enough to understand instructions, and under control of their own mind. Now, it seems like this restriction should make it useless in the creation of a flesh golem, since they are an undead construct, but I think that the interpretation of for the spell being used in the creation of a flesh golem is actually that it's commanding the flesh to reawaken. The spell has to be given in a language that the subject can understand, and it has to have very clear conditions to be met for the chaos to be fulfilled. When you cast this at a high enough level, or rather, you're a high enough level spellcaster, this spell essentially lasts forever, unless someone casts Wish, Limited Wish, or Miracle. More recently, Remove Curse, when cast by a spellcaster of a higher level than the original caster, will also work. When a person is subjected to the chaos, they have to take actions in order to complete the instructions assigned. And if they don't, then they will begin to sicken. In the current version of the spell, they will receive the effects of inflict moderate wounds every day until they resume taking actions that would result in the completion of the chaos. So, just as an example for how you could use this spell in a campaign, and I think this is a really interesting spell. So sorry for dragging all of you down this rabbit hole. I love to go down little rabbit holes when I'm doing research into fantasy. And I can pretty much guarantee you that this won't be the last rabbit hole I go down in these videos, though it is the last one for this particular video. Anyways, let's say you're an adventuring party and your local evil wizard casts this spell on you, and they demand that you go and dethrone the local benevolent king. But your adventuring party is good aligned, and they work for this king. They know he's a great person. He takes care of his subjects. So what do? Like, every day you're going to be taking pain until you start to work towards this. Maybe the campaign could be trying to wriggle your way out of it, or maybe you could find a way to kill him, thus completing the chaos, and then get some— oh, it's my little kitty! This is Saluna. Oh, hey, that was legitimate. I forgot she was there. Where was I? Right. Yeah, you could kill him and then have a cleric revivify him, having completed the chaos, but also having stuck to your good alignment. Right, let's go back to flesh golems. Sorry for that little aside. The rules as written: the corpses must be human, not too badly decayed, and otherwise normal. Special ointments and bindings are needed to keep the flesh bound together during creation. and actually putting the body together requires skills in medicine, surgery, or leatherworking. The spells Animate Dead, Bull Strength, Chaos, and Limited Wish cast by a capable spellcaster are used in this creation. And the total monetary cost is around 10,500 gold pieces. Flesh golems can make a really great frontline damage absorption creature, ignoring the fact that they have 9 AC, meaning that you can basically sneeze at them and deal damage. They do have a lot of immunities. They are immune to lightning, poison, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. They are immune to charmed, exhaustion, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, poison. They can't have their form changed. And they also have lightning absorption. So if you're a wizard and you have these big burly flesh golems on the front lines for you, you could cast all your big lightning damage spells, because they will actually take no damage from the lightning and instead gain the hit points equal to the damage that would have been dealt. Additionally, they have magic resistance, so they have advantage against spells and other magical effects. And suspiciously like Frankenstein's monster, they have an aversion to fire, so it has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until its next turn. If the golem starts its turn with fewer than 40 hit points, you roll a d6, and on a 6, the golem goes berserk. Meaning that on each of its turns, while berserk, it will attack the nearest creature it can see. If there is no creature near enough to move to an attack, then it will instead attack an object, with a preference for objects smaller than itself. Once it is berserk, it continues to do so until it is either killed or regains all its hit points. Additionally, its creator can use a persuasion check to calm it down. I promised I'd talk about this in my last video, so mild Curse of Strahd spoilers ahead. Here are my experiences with Flesh Golem. So the first is with a Flesh Golem by the name of Basilka. She was created by the Abbot of Kresk, who restored to life 6 women that died in a recent plague, with the intention of turning her into Strahd's bride, creating the perfect woman for him. So, I'm sorry, Bella, but you can actually build a bitch when it comes to D&D. Now, I don't know if this is based off of the book or if it's my DM's own machinations, but she was intelligent, and she has like all 6 personalities in her, kind of a big amalgamation of the 6 women. Like the Borg is one entity that is many. She also was one entity that was the 6 women. And she ended up being an integral part to our B team, which we just used to do little quests whenever someone was out of town and we didn't want them to miss a big storyline event. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, from, happy friend to absolute horror show, normal in Curse of Strahd, Strahd created a flesh golem using the head of a character that had been killed by Strahd while trying to protect the party. Strahd and my DM, of course, found this just hilarious. All of this psychological damage. So we had to face down our old friend just in this twisted, horrible form, having lost all of his personality and his ability for cognitive thought. And now we have to kill him, putting this trauma aside, I just want to say this was a fantastic model to paint. I got to try out all sorts of different flesh colors, even though the very dark-skinned one worked out very poorly for me. As you can see, there are some crackles there that happened when I panicked and used speed paint on a pretty much flat surface. Anyways, great model. If you want to practice painting different skin tones, I highly recommend it, because you can do a little patchwork like me, and it's a little bit larger than your normal humanoid model. So, if you're still here, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and have a fantastic day. Bye!